the way they speak of him in his own nation and in his own continent at large. If you go to African news sources, very favorable. Western news sources are like, oh God, whoa, is this about to be a bad thing? Meanwhile, all the people of Africa are like, we love him! So I'm gonna go ahead and follow their lead, seeing as they're there.
Burkina Faso has long been known for its economic hardship and instability. The country is now capturing global attention. Since taking power in a 2022 coup, Ibrahim Traoré has launched a wave of reforms. Traoré has emphasized independence, resource control, and a break from the country's historical dependency on foreign aid and influence. Born in a small town in western Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré grew up witnessing the challenges that plagued his nation. Despite limited resources, he excelled in school, earning a degree in geology before joining the military. In 2022, Burkina Faso faced a political crisis. Amid the chaos, Ibrahim Traoré emerged as the unifying figure. He became the youngest head of state in Africa, pledging to restore stability and prioritize the needs of the country's citizens. Traoré has gone viral all over social media.
This is the first time that I've ever seen a man in a position of power, the president of a country who actually cares about his people, building hospitals, building housing, lowering the wages of politicians and increasing the wages of the people, and working towards having an independent currency which would be backed by Africa's oil and gold and exports. In the words of Ibrahim, we cannot have a revolution without communicating.
As it is now, Ibrahim Traoré is the smartest leader we have in Africa. You know, okay, donations are good, yes, we want them, but empower us to also able to do something for ourselves. That was his, if you can go through his conversation, his major advocacy was for his youth, for the youth of Burkina Faso, for the citizens to be trained, to be educated, so that they can be able to operate the system. You know, one of the issues we have in Africa is the human capital. That is really one of the major issues we have, the human capital. So if really there are systems in place, like in all these, Africans are very smart. Africans are very, very smart. You know, if you come to these European universities, you see most of the smartest students, you can find them Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, Ghanaians, they're very smart. So if this human capital development is being done in my own country, training my own people, you know, in our own way, that would be very nice. So this is why everybody is talking about Ibrahim Traoré. That guy is so smart. I love that guy so much. He's very, very smart. And I pray that God will continue to bless that guy.
Burkina Faso has one of the youngest and fastest growing populations in the world. With a fertility rate over 5 children per woman, the population has nearly tripled since 1980 and is projected to exceed 30 million by 2050. While a young population can be an asset, it requires massive investments. The rapid growth could be a huge strain for the country's education and economic systems. Ibrahim Traoré's popularity has reached unprecedented levels. Mass rallies in support of his administration have taken place in major cities, often featuring enthusiastic crowds waving flags and chanting slogans of unity and renewal. His approval ratings have soared, particularly among younger citizens who see him as a break from the past. For several years, Burkina Faso has suffered from the violence of different groups. When he took power in September 2022, Ibrahim Traoré promised to make the fight against these groups one of his main priorities. He has launched massive recruitment campaigns for the VDP, or the Defense of the Fatherland. Traoré has stepped up military operations and strengthened the capabilities of the country's armed forces. According to journalist and writer Sadiq Abba, an associate researcher and president of the International Center for Sahel Studies and Reflections, Ibrahim Traoré's popularity is mainly due to his anti-imperialist stance. Burkina Faso has long been one of the poorest countries in the world. Despite its rich cultural heritage, it faces huge economic challenges. With a GDP per capita among the lowest globally and an economy heavily dependent on subsistence agriculture, Burkina Faso has historically struggled to achieve sustainable development, with high levels of unemployment and limited infrastructure. Traoré has also been vocal about reducing corruption and ensuring that Burkina Faso's wealth benefits its citizens rather than a small elite. In a series of nationally broadcast addresses, Ibrahim Traoré pledged to root out corruption within all levels of government. He has announced new anti-corruption initiatives, including the formation of independent oversight bodies and stricter transparency laws. These measures have been praised by international watchdogs. His government has introduced reforms aimed at improving transparency in public spending and increasing local participation in decision-making. These measures are intended to restore trust between the state and its people, which had eroded over years of instability, coups, and ineffective governance. Despite the momentum, Traoré's legacy is still contested, and his administration faces the daunting task of balancing security, economic development, and political stability. But for many in Burkina Faso, his leadership has injected a sense of possibility and self-determination that was long missing. On April 30th, thousands of people showed their support for Ibrahim Traoré. The demonstrations happened after the U.S. General Michael Langley told the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee that Burkina Faso's powerful military regime was taking advantage of the country's resources, particularly the gold reserves, for its own protection instead of the population. Hundreds of messages and publications in support of Ibrahim Traoré have flooded social media.
Ibrahim Traoré, mon capitaine, the president of Africa, the king of the king. So finally, he responded to Michael Langley. So while in Moscow, he had an interview and they asked him about Michael Langley, all the false accusation about Burkina Faso. And this is what he has to say. Everything that Michael Langley says is a lie. And even though we are using the gold of Burkina Faso to protect ourselves, it's our gold. If not, they are golds, okay? And they should mind their business. So, hey, and he said that Burkina Faso didn't have a gold reserve until now. So everything that he says is a lie.
His influence has extended beyond Burkina Faso's borders. Ibrahim Traoré's stance on economic nationalism has resonated with many across Africa. At regional summits, he has advocated for collective action against external exploitation, emphasizing the need for African solutions to African problems. Regional African leaders have also taken notice, with some reportedly considering similar reforms in their own countries. The president's blend of useful energy and principled leadership has made him a figure to watch on the global stage. For many, Ibrahim Traoré represents more than just a leader for Burkina Faso. He symbolizes a broader movement across Africa. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to World of Finance TV and turn on the notification.